Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Decentralized Voices Podcast. I'm excited to have Andrii Bondar from Meta Labs as a guest for this episode. Andrii is responsible for user experience and product design of ZKsync, one of the most prominent Ethereum Layer 2 projects. And also, Andrii is a very special guest because he's my husband. I'm very excited to record this episode, and I'm sure you will like. Andrii, please tell our listeners about your past in blockchain and how you joined the Meta Labs team.
And before I started work at Meta Labs and even in the blockchain industry, I had been working in different projects and fields such as health tech, including solutions for improving the personal experience and state hospitals, fintech application, and legal tech, where I participated in creating the AI system for lawyers. The fields are different, but I have always worked with user-centered design principles in mind because I'm impressed by the ability to increase what a user can do. It's about personal freedom and personal opportunities. For this reason, I started my journey into the blockchain industry in 2017, working with the centralized crypto exchange CX.io. Because at that time, centralized crypto exchanges were massive, and this project allowed me to work with end users, improve their onboarding and trading experience, and provide helpful support for teams who worked with users. After some time working in this industry, it became clear that users were increasingly concerned about decentralization. And this is why I started looking for a tech-oriented company that focuses on scaling decentralization and privacy. And ZKsync, created by Meta Labs team, can do that using zero-knowledge proofs and will enable mainstream adoption of public blockchains. So I joined the Meta Labs team as a product designer, and we have been working together for almost 3 years.
Thank you very much. So, why do you like blockchain and this concept of decentralization?
The first thing I like about working in the blockchain industry is the mind for innovation, decentralization, and privacy. This is why Bitcoin was created and adopted by millions of people worldwide. And today, technology and Ethereum are changing not only the financial sector, providing new tools for investing, but also creating a new model for ownership, governance, and collaboration. And again, it's about personal freedom. And in my opinion, freedom means that individuals should have the autonomy to use and control their assets as they want, without interference from any centralized authority. So if you want to automate some agreements using a smart contract, the digital art or intellectual property in NFT, make some financial operations like lending, borrowing, or play the game without losing the items you've earned, you can do all of that using the concept of trustlessness from the blockchain. It means that there is no third party you have to trust to control your assets. And it's an amazing concept. But to do this, we need to continue creating the solution that make this happen and can be scaled with respect for privacy. And to do that is a challenge. For this reason, this field needs to constantly innovate and create incredible projects and standards like, for example, account abstraction or modular smart contract or 7212 for biometric signing or 7702 which allows AOA, the common blockchain account, to interact like a smart contract. The second reason I like working in this field is the young industry. Because of innovations, there's a dynamic and fast-paced environment, like a startup vibe. There are many startups where I can challenge myself to create new ideas and adopt new technologies with some kind of flexibility. In addition to that, many of them have excellent capital they can use to hire the best experts, and I love it. Because even on a small team, you can work with the best talent globally, from engineers and cryptographers to marketers and product designers. Those people allow me to absorb knowledge from teammates with unique skill sets. So yeah, there are two reasons I wanted to mention here. And this is a sweet combination of demanding innovations and a startup culture of ownership. This is why I like working in the blockchain industry.
What do you do as product designer at such infrastructure project like ZKsync?
It's an interesting question because many people are asking me that. In general, there are two things you can do at ZKsync. And the first is build the application on ZKsync era. The second is to build your own ZK chain. So as a product designer, I can work with three categories of users. I can even name developers as users because they use the ZKsync technologies. So the first category is developers who build the applications. As a product designer, I can work with development experience. I can research how they use the documentation and what tools they use to make the user experience better. And I can also help them improve their users' experience by providing design support and recommendation. The second category is developers who build the ZK chain with ZK Stack. This chain will be a part of the Elastic network, and long story short, it's a scalable network of ZK wraps, enabling seamless, secure, and cost-effective interoperability, acting like a unified blockchain for users. Because of having this native interoperability, the Elastic network can provide a new level of cross-chain transaction. And as a product designer, I can work on the way how this Elastic network experience can look for developers because of some tools that need UX and end users. And the last category is end users. I can work with them as a users of ZK chains, helping them, for example, to have a better Elastic network experience, as a users of the application that works on ZKsync era, and also as a users of ZKsync era, because we have own products like Explorer, Bridge, etc. And of course, I can work with UX-oriented tools like ZKsync Smart Sign-On. It's an amazing developer toolkit for smooth user onboarding that provides everything you need out of the box, including passkey-based authentication and session. So as a product designer, I can work with different product and audience, but it's always about the experience where I have to find the problem and find the solution, like double diamond UX process: discover and define, develop and deliver.
It sounds very interesting, and I like this concept of double diamond. Please share how closely do you work with engineers and product team?
As I mentioned before, the startup vibe allowed me to work very closely with different team members from different departments. In addition to that, I'm the only designer in the product team, and if I own something in tech company, even if I own UX improving process, I should not avoid working with engineers to know more about the stack we can use. But even that, sometimes my favorite is to start the user interaction discussion with the words, imagine we are not limited by tech. Let's focus on what users need first and why they will use our products. It's very familiar to job to be done framework, which allow us to discuss the solution from the user's needs perspective. So yeah, I work very closely with the team, and in this collaboration, everyone can bring their experience to achieve the solution. Close collaboration with product managers, for example, allow me to align user needs with business goals to get the product vision and to work on prioritization to achieve those business goals. So in general, yeah, it's very close collaboration.
Can you please share more about tech concepts you use in your daily work?
Before I even start talking about the technical part, I want to highlight the most important thing not only designers should have working in the blockchain field specifically. It's passion. You have to learn, check new updates, and research everything that happens in the industry daily. Passion allows you to learn new tools that can help you develop technical skills, which allow you to do many things like testing, validating. For example, I spent some time learning Xcode a few weeks ago, and now I can make the prototypes and check how Swift SDK from different projects works. In addition to that, today, everyone can be very technical because of AI. I can ask ChatGPT to create the application or help to check if something doesn't work. And even more, there are special AI-based tools for creating applications like Copilot or the latest application I tested, for example, Client. I love coding agents like Client because they can be integrated into Visual Studio Code and can help me even with Swift File, for example. And you should be in the Ethereum ecosystem first. This means discovering everything related to Ethereum and rollups. You must have your first smart contract on Ethereum, your favorite NFT on Ethereum, and attend conferences about Ethereum, etc. I, for example, love visiting Ethereum conferences because they offer fantastic networking opportunities, in addition to know.
To continue this topic about events, I want to ask you to share about your workshop at Devcon, dedicated to user experience in Web3. Please share how it was and why it's so hot topic now in the ecosystem.
I was fortunate to be chosen as a speaker, and this was, by the way, my first time I attended Devcon. And Devcon, held in Thailand, was a massive event attracting over 12,000 attendees. And I was happy to see so many halls and rooms and how organizers focused on expanding the topics. And there were many Devcon tracks, and what I wanted to mention is user experience was one of them. And my topic was improving the user experience by user research. I shared about user research and why it's important, quantitative and qualitative methods, the customer journey map, and how to create it. We practiced the deep interview about the blockchain experience, and I noticed how this practice of asking questions changed to networking. It was great, but everyone was just talking, and I had to force them to continue the next steps. And this was my first time conducting the workshop because I had only talked before, and my mistake was I wanted to share too much information. And I realized that I need more time to play and work with audience, but in general, it was lovely. I was happy to see UI and product designers who wanted to increase UX skills, but also I was surprised how many developers and engineers visit the UX workshop. Some wanted to increase their knowledge of improving their product, and some were starting new products as founders and wanted to know more about finding and analyzing the target audience. A couple of years ago, many investors were invested mainly in infrastructure and technical startups because technical obstacles to mass adoption remain. And this is why we had many tech-oriented products and many enthusiasts who used them. But even at that time, you can notice products that win because of better UX, such as Uniswap. Today, we have, fortunately, much more technical tools available to improve UX, and this is why we have more and more products with user-centric design in mind, because interface design is the way not only to compete, but also to increase the total number of blockchain users, avoiding the limitation we had in the past. For example, because of account abstraction and paymaster, you can allow users to use the blockchain benefit without having any crypto, but becoming blockchain users. This means that UX can be a business driver. And as an example, a couple of years ago, we didn't have as many apps and mobile wallets as we have today. And you can notice that UX is king here. In addition to this, making better UX means making complex things easy to understand for users, providing accessibility and inclusivity, and focusing product experience specifically for target audience. This is why UX has become more and more important today.
Yeah, I agree with you. User experience can help bring more people on chain and improve their interactions with applications. Please explain the difference between product designers, UX, and UI designers. What is the difference between these three categories of designers?
If you, as a founder, need someone who can help you to build the design for your product, balancing user needs and business objectives, you need a product designer. Product designers collaborate with engineers, marketers, and stakeholders. They can cover the UX and UI, considering the business strategy and goals, technical opportunities and limitations. And as a result, you can have the entire product design process from ideation to execution, design strategy, testing, and analytics. So in general, the product designer is a big picture thinker. UI designers, on the other hand, are like user advocates. They focus on interaction and experience. It helps to be sure that the product is intuitive and usable. UX designer can spend more time conducting user research, interview, and usability testing, and create user personas, user flow, wireframes, and prototypes. And the last but not least, UI designers. I name them visual stylists. UI designers know a lot about typography, color schemes, branding, and design system. They can impress you with animations and create amazing designs using the wireframes UX or product designers can provide. So, long story short, if your company is large or maybe your product is deeply focused on UX or UI side, it's nice to hire UX and UI designers separately. But if your company, a product team is small and you want to cover all design processes that are considered with business strategy, you need a product design.
Andrii, what challenges have you faced when designing for ZKsync compared to your previous experience with centralized crypto products?
The first challenge is the way I can research. Centralized crypto exchange usually means one specific interface. Of course, some clients can trade using API, but usually it's not the most priority audience. And this is why I may have them very powerful analytics tool like Google Analytics, for example. So I can work with user experience using UI and UX tools and improve that user experience using Google Analytics data. And I can work with the clients directly via marketing team or user support team. So in general, the two most powerful things I can do to improve the user experience: analytic data and working with the marketing and user support team. And of course, sometimes I had to work with the legal team because of regulations and the market, and I can research the market to look for the competitors, for example. On the other hand, the ZKsync project focuses on building the technology to improve blockchain scalability, security, and decentralization. And to research the market and competitors can be more important than in centralized crypto exchange. And because as a designer, I don't have one specific interface I'm working on. I can even don't have one specific audience or one specific chain. And I may not even have easy way to track everything in one place like Google Analytics. Because in addition to the front-end interface and server data, we have here the onchain data. And of course, we have some amazing tools like June, but it's even not close to the Google Analytics tool. June can be a part of the research instrument I can use. Obviously, I can learn from many studies, share surveys with our community, and conduct deep interviews to collect helpful data. But in addition to that, the blockchain industry includes driven research culture and active community, and this helps a lot. The next challenge is the audience I have to work with. In centralized crypto exchange, I have worked with end users in most cases. But as I mentioned before, working with ZKsync, you may have different audience, and one of the most important focus is the elastic network. So, in most cases, before in working with centralized crypto exchange, the clients were end users. Working with ZKsync, the clients are also the businesses who launch their own network, like Abstract, Sophon, for example. And the challenge is to work with such businesses because it's like B2B2C. We have to support them and provide not only technical solution, but also the tools they can increase your apps. So we have to think about what we can do to increase the entire elastic network experience. It's working on a more strategic level because you must consider the needs of many businesses. So yeah, it's the challenge number 2.
Thank you very much. So can you please share your opinion on how to simplify user onboarding to Web3 without feeling overwhelming?
I wanted to mention that this industry was not created to be as easy as possible to use. For example, when Bitcoin was created, you have to have your wallet, you have to download the full node. But it wasn't a huge problem because the blockchain was quite small, just a few megabytes compared to today. But today, the full node requires over 500 gigabytes of memory. When it was large enough, a couple of years ago, people started to think how to make it more easy to use, and they created SPV, Simplified Payment Verification. It's a wallet that allows you to make a transaction without having a full copy of the blockchain. And this is how it worked before. Today, we have more technologies specifically focused on UX. For example, you can build a new chain with native support of account abstraction, which is good for better experience, or you can build the chains with native interoperability layer that makes the entire network feel like a one unified chain, what is also amazing for better user experience. But despite this, it's still challenging to onboard new users. But why? Many people say that blockchain experience is much easier. And sometimes it's true because the blockchain account can be created much quicker and easier compared to the bank account creating process, especially if you have to go to an offline bank office and spend an hour before you become a prime bank client. But believe me or not, many people will be happy to open a bank account again and again, even offline. And another example of how complicated process can be easy for users is online shopping. As a user, you have to sign up, verify mail, phone number. After shopping, you have to add delivery address, payment information, and verify it using another application or even another device. The most active internet users will do that without any problem because it's something they used to do. And this is the point I want to highlight. And the reason why the simple process of making the blockchain account is not easy for common users, because they are not familiar with this. A couple of years ago, I researched the last feedback users leave from mobile application blockchain wallets, and I was surprised by the results I had. Some users still believe that seed phrase is not such critical as they think, and they can lose it because they believe they can call someone and recover their account. Because it's how every neobank works today. You can always call the support team, share all the information you have, and your account will be restored. But not in the case of using the blockchain. Users never had the case when all assets are covered by a couple of wallets. How to keep their wallets? They just don't know. They don't do that every day. Of course, there's a lack of guidance, but even more, someone shared that I'm IT professional and I was confused. I spent several days trying to figure out how exactly it works before I created my first crypto wallet. So it's a global problem, and we can spend years or maybe decades, but there's another way how to simplify user onboarding. Remember I said that it's complicated just because it's not familiar. So we can make this process as familiar as possible, or at least clear for end users. We have to make the blockchain applications very familiar to what users use daily. If it differs from users can expect, explain why it's here and what benefits users would have. To ensure that onboarding steps are clear, I use my favorite framework of 3 questions. First, what this page is for. Second, why do you as users here? And the last, what do you have to do? These questions are very important for making onboarding as easy as possible. And by the way, I want to mention that as easy as possible doesn't mean less as possible steps or screens. It depends on the audience, but I found the feedback where users shared that one-click onboarding using the Face ID is not sometimes the user can expect in the process of creating the account in the financial application. One-click onboarding is about innovation and fun. It's cool, but it's not about trust. So if we, as a blockchain industry, want more common users, we should have to make onboarding as familiar as possible. And to do that, we should learn what is familiar to your target audience. And this helps users avoid obstacles in the way they like.
Yeah, thank you for such comprehensive answer. It was super insightful. Can you please share about the technologies or concepts from Web3 you like the most?
Web3 prioritizes user control and ownership of data. And I like the concept and solution that can support that and allow users to live their life like it was before, but with the benefits blockchain can provide. Let's stop focusing on current technical limitations and let's imagine the use cases where we can benefit from the blockchain users. Because as Albert Einstein said, when we accept our limits, we go beyond them. Let's unlimit ourselves. And first is obvious. I like the concept of identity. Why not having the universal decentralized identity system? Of course, some countries are making their own local decentralized system and some low limitations, but in general, why not have a system every country can use? Why not? Okay. As a designer, I really want that. Also, by the way, you can have decentralized identity for your pets or even subjects. Like, for example, imagine your smartphone email can be on-chain and you can use the blockchain account to prove that this smartphone is yours. It's cool. Or, for example, we can have the blockchain for real estate. We can tokenize real estate to enable proving of ownership, and it will be easy to make some property transactions. Why not? And even more. We can, again, unlimit ourselves, and it can be used to create proofs of ownership on international territories, where different countries can create a decentralized system of ownership for items like building, islands, etc. What about the blockchain-powered universal intellectual property registry? It's cool when everyone can add own trademark or idea, and it can be immutable registry for patents, trademarks, and copyrights. Even if it's not protected by a law first, it can be a proof that this idea was created by you, and sometimes you can approve it by law, but in general, you will have this record on chain. For me, it's very cool. Next is, what about investing via tokenization in natural resources like forests or oceans, when people will be able to invest in such projects in the way they like, and everyone in the world can do that. The next is, what about decentralized voting? It can be transparent election for governments, corporations, or communities. And just no comment. I'm just waiting for that, especially for the first blockchain government elections. And by the way, you have to know that a smart contract is a list of commands. So many processes can be automated and placed on chain, and everything will be absolutely super transparent. For example, dynamic real-time taxation via smart contracts. Just imagine an automated taxation system where taxes are calculated and deducted in real time for every transaction using blockchain. And I just didn't start even talk about the concept that of using decentralized storage. It's a lot of things we can do. There are a lot of things we can do on chain, and the main idea is, I don't want people to change their habits and become blockchain users. I want blockchain to be integrated into everyday life with its benefits.
Andrii, what advice would you give designers looking to enter the Web3 space? Where to start, what to read, what to listen to?
Web3 space is about personal freedom. So I recommend personally use Web3 and the blockchain. Please play this Web3 game. Look for something that personally concerns you the most in this field. Don't stop to investigate. Wonder what's happening here. Start by installing the wallets and check the applications. And you can always use the testnet and don't spend your own money on that. But take your time and highlight the moment that you remember, because at this moment, you are the user who discovers the decentralized world for yourself. This knowledge can help you to improve the experience for the same beginners as you. Let me provide the example. When I asked experienced developers about ZKsync documentation, they were very happy with this. But when I tested it, I have as many comments as a beginner because I'm not developers. And if we want my beginners, for example, students, we may change something specifically for them. So be passionate, be open, and let's make the world better and benefit from the blockchain technologies.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time, for your expertise, for sharing your great ideas. It was really helpful and, as I mentioned, insightful. So, guys, I leave Andrei's links under this episode, and you can follow him and ask him questions about product design and the different on-chain concepts and ideas. So thanks for your attention, and see you in the next episode.
Bye.